We rise, humbly hearted rise, won't be divided rise, with spirit to guide us rise, in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In a hope, in prayer, we're right here. In a hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. All of the children rise. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In a hope, in prayer, we're right here. In a hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. Up from the wreckage, rise. With tears and with courage, rise. Fighting for life, we rise.
Good morning, wherever you are and whenever you're watching this. It's always morning when we begin our daily sit. Today, as we count the Omer, it's Yesod of Hesed, which is means that we are in this part of loving kindness and love that desires connection. And again, counting the Omer is a practice that some Jewish people do between Passover and Shavuot, which is in the Christian tradition Pentecost. And we count the Omer each day, and there's a meaning to each day which reflects that place on the Sephirot, on the Tree of Life. And the first week is Chesed, loving kindness, and this day is Yesod of Chesed. So that's the desire for connection. And I pulled for us the Judgment card, which is really interesting, one of the major arcanas. And judgment is about evaluation and balance and truth. So self-criticism can turn very quickly into self-loathing. And in the 12-step programs, there's something called the fourth step, which really encourages us to take honest and truthful inventory of both our character defects and our character assets. So it's extraordinarily important in placing judgment, or in looking at judgment in terms of the self, to be incredibly loving, generous, and honest about that judgment. So, for instance, I have a little addiction to to watching the astronauts in space, and it comes from, I think, being a little girl and being so fascinated when I was tiny and they landed on the moon. It was my first experience of television. It was my first experience of feeling the placement of the Earth and the Earthlings in relation to the rest of the universe. And I've been sort of fascinated with planetary science ever since. And so this morning, when I was scheduled to do some other life administration tasks, I ended up watching the live feed from the Artemis 2. So here's my example. This is, I can look at that and say, wow, here's the judgment, the clear, truthful judgment. You spent 20 minutes watching live feed from the NASA feed. That's just true. The self-criticism says, well, you shouldn't have been doing that. You should have been doing the 3 emails you said you were going to do before daily sit. Another part of me says, oh, well, you did that. And yes, you're going to have to do those other things now later and maybe a little more rushed, but you got so much out of that mysterious science, that gazing at the universe in a new way. So my point is, we need to access the magic words of love when it comes to self-criticism and criticism of others, so that we make judgments, yes, and some of those judgments are extraordinarily necessary, but we need to stay in truth. And when we go into the negative judgments to ourselves, it not only slows us down and disconnects us to divine source, but it also then leaks out into the world, into the other people we encounter. So, looking at judgment, we're going to use as a tool today mantra. Mantra are magic words. They can be in Sanskrit, Hebrew, Arabic, French, Spanish, Italian, any other language in the world, or English. But they evoke our intention. So I often will breathe in using the mantra in a sit and say silently to myself, H.E.A.T, which is a Hebrew word for I am here. And then on the out breath, I'll say silently, here I am. H.E.A.T, here I am. Or in breath, let go. And exhale, let God, which is a slogan from 12-step programs. Or I will just say love. It's what I want to evoke, and it calms the judgment inside me and says, okay, whatever it is that I'm looking at, that is coming up for me during a sit, first of all, I try to acknowledge the thinking and come back to the breath, but I also welcome whatever arises in moderation without judgment. Without critical judgment. There's always judgment, but it doesn't have to be this is good, this is bad. It can be, oh, this hurts. Oh, this is true. So we'll choose a mantra when we go into the meditation. And I also just want to say that I do a lot of talking in the beginning of each sit, and these are teachings that I work with each morning in preparation for the daily sit. And the way that I'd love you to hold these teachings is that anything that resonates with you, a word, a phrase, a concept, an idea, an image, hold on to that or take note of it. And let all the rest wash away like rainwater, because it's not important to hear every word. It's just important to have a specific intention and focus for a meditation. And that can also be an intention of your choosing and nothing to do with what I have brought to us today as Dharma. So with that, we'll begin. The bell encourages us to flutter the eyes closed, reducing our sense of sight, waking up our awareness of the other senses, taste, smell, hearing. And touch, gently scanning the body. And here's our first practice of judgment, non-judgment, non-criticism. We just scan the body and remark to ourselves what's going on. Dry mouth, yeah. Tight left shoulder, yeah. Awareness, acceptance, release. We are aware of something, we accept it, and then we just kind of let go of our awareness of that on the out breath and move to the next place. So scanning the body from crown to toe or toe to crown. Trying to imagine yourself on a little, perhaps, inner spacecraft where you're just looking at things. You're flowing through the body on the inside and seeing what you feel at each particular point. Without judgment, we know ourselves at this moment in space and time. And we connect with the earth, watching the astronauts up in space floating around their cabin, and knowing that I'm grateful to be sitting here on this earth without effort. Gravity is holding me. What a gift. And gravity is so strong, it's now pulling that spacecraft back to Earth from the moon. They're just working with gravity. And we can work with it too. And feel that connection, that desire for connection that Yesod of Chesed brings to us. The desire to connect to the earth, to belong on this earth. And then planting the roots of the tree of the spine into the earth. Let the spine grow, low back, mid back, upper back, neck. A long, straight, strong line of energy from base of spine to base of skull. And as the back body rises, the shoulders rolled away from the ears, falling down the spine. And we feel the trunk of our spine long and strong. We now release the front body from belly to ribs to heart to chin. Release it back towards the spine. Open and released and resting here. As the back body rises up and then is rooted down at the same time. And the jaw releases and the muscles behind the eyes release. And the fingers release, palms resting, either facing up, the palms facing up for more connection to spirit, or facing down to more connection to earth and ground. And we turn our attention to breath, the wind that moves through us, cycling in some deeper breaths, perhaps even breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. A couple of times. Releasing with that sigh. And now, returning the breath to whatever is natural for you, the in, the out, the gentle pause between breaths. And now we link it to mantra, to whatever magic words bring you connection and peace. It could be the sound of Om, could be one word or phrase that matches your intention for the day, coming from that sense of gentle, loving judgment and desire for loving connection. And now we are working with that loving connection to the self, that radical self love, using mantra to call us back to the breath when our mind wanders too far away. We sit here in love, alone and together, one breath at a time. As we approach the midpoint of our sit, just allowing the breath to deepen and the muscles and bones to release a little bit more. If your mantra is working for you, great. If not, you can switch it up or let it go. Cycling in some deeper breaths now. Settling in. Feeling the ground. Feeling the spine long. Feeling that awareness, acceptance, and release when it comes to judgment. Feeling the connection to divine source, to the earth, to the universe, to your own soul, your own heart. Just one breath at a time. In the last few minutes of this sit, just deepen that sense of self-love, turning judgment to love, understanding that in the end you are enough. You are worthy of love, of celebration, of rest, of connection. And just cycling in some deeper breaths, allowing that notion to melt away tension and just let go. Thank yourself for coming to this and sitting and being with yourself in silence for a little while. Thank the earth for holding you here in her gravitational hug. And thank your divine source or any other entities that have supported you this morning. And the sound of the bell encourages us to open our eyes, to let the light in without overwhelming the sense of tastes and smell and hearing and touch. We keep all of our senses working in unison to inform our day with love, with connection. We rise to this day with love, with peace, and Goddess willing, with joy. I'll see you again.
Humbly hearted rise, won't be divided, rise, with spirit to guide us, rise, in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here, in a hope, in prayer, we're right here, in a hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here, in hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise, all of the children rise, elders with wisdom rise, ancestors surround us, rise.